I had a feeling I should have just canceled today. I probably should have. Oh man, I had the brilliant idea of I'm gonna drink a coffee before the stream starts, and now I've got like you're not supposed to, when you do like podcasting and stuff, you're not supposed to drink coffee or anything that thickens your saliva because it makes it so that you have like a stickier sounding mouth. So I drank coffee with milk, and I lost all my notes and I lost all my tabs because I told you guys I browse Firefox with like a private mode so I can use it for screen sharing without having to worry about anything. And the only downside with that is that it doesn't remember your tabs because there's no history attached to it. So if something happens, like let's say I update my computer and Firefox says, okay, we need to restart now because the executable has changed, then I lose all my fucking tabs. And then I reboot it, I open up all my tabs again just in time for the stream to start. And I'm thinking, okay, let me open up OBS. And then OBS says, oh, by the way, we update your display driver updated, so now you have to restart your computer before OBS works. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm gonna lose my tabs again. And then I lost all my fucking stream notes because I use a weird text editor for Linux, and it opened 2 panels of my notes, and I thought like, okay, well, I want to close the second panel so I can see all my notes, and then it deletes it. It deletes it, and it keeps the second panel open. Like, what the fuck is the point of this button? So I have nothing. I saved all the links to a text file before I restarted my computer, so I have my links still, but I don't have any of my notes. So I'm properly fucked. I'm properly fucked on this issue. But that's okay. This stream's gonna suck because nothing's happened. Literally nothing has happened this entire week. The entire world is obsessed with the Rittenhouse trial, and I could not care less. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. It's a show trial. I don't know if he'll be found innocent or guilty. It wouldn't surprise me either way. And people are like wildly speculating. Oh, it's taking the jury 4 days to come to a conclusion. They're being intimidated by the media. It's like it's like a capital triple homicide trial. Like, yeah, they're going to deliberate a little bit, hopefully. If I was on trial for murder and I thought I had a self-defense case and the state's prosecuting attorney thought otherwise, I would certainly want the jury to take a couple days to think about it and not rush to some conclusion. So I really don't know what's up with that. It's apparently the biggest thing ever. And I could not give less of a fuck about some bullshit trial in Wisconsin, a state I will literally never go to. Because as I mentioned, they like to frame people for murder in Wisconsin. I warned you guys about Wisconsin. Don't go to fucking Wisconsin. They'll try your ass on some bullshit murder charge. And look what happens to Rittenhouse. Should have listened. Should have stayed in Illinois and not crossed the state line to Wisconsin and shot some pedophiles because now he's on trial for it. Ugh. Talk about the gun. I'll get to Ralph. This stream would not be happening if not for Ralph's generous sponsorship by turning his life into a complete fucking circus that I can make fun of endlessly. Because really nothing else has happened. Sneed. Talked about. I don't know. I want to cover for posterity just what the trial is like. It's like comedy to me because there was the riots over George Floyd, and then Rittenhouse killed a couple people allegedly defending property in Wisconsin, and now he's on trial for murder. And there's thinking like if he gets off, there's going to be more riots. So if that happens, there might be another incident in Wisconsin where people are shot over the riot over the trial that had murders that had happened at other riots related to George Floyd, and it's just going to be a George Floyd cascade. Every year we're going to have an annual show trial and riot and a couple capital murder charges to top it off, and it'll just happen over and over again for the rest of our fucking lives, and we'll have to look back on it like, do you remember the 2056 Kenosha riots that resulted in the murder of 2 pedophiles as is tradition? And it's like, yeah, we have to try some kid on murder charges once a year for the harvest. It'll just be a new American tradition. We'll write into the Constitution. Every year we need some bullshit murder charge and riot over it. Let stupid people kill each other. I think here's my only take on this. My only serious take. Don't go to these riots. Democratic participation is a spook. Democracy does not exist. Your participation at protests does not matter. You will not change anything. Nobody will remember your heroic deeds defending your store in Kenosha. Get insurance on your store, and when the joggers and the uneducated voters steal all your Nike shoes from your storefront, you write it off on taxes, and you claim insurance, and then you just fix it. And just keep doing that. There's literally no point trying to be a hero at these fucking protests, especially not if you don't own anything there. Definitely do not go out of your way to participate in these protests, because the only thing that can happen is that your ass is grass, or your ass is going to jail for some bogus trumped up charge based on absolutely nothing. So just stay away from these honeypots. Anytime you've seen a gathering of people in the last 10 years, it has resulted in someone being dead or someone getting felony charges without fail. They are in the crowds. They are instigating crimes. They are prosecuting people and whatever they can. And there is no positive net gain from being at these events. There's just none. I understand that Rittenhouse was a young boy with lots of aspirations and hope in this country and shit, but that's fucking gay and dead and obsolete. So just stop and stay at home and play Europa Universalis 4 like I've done for the last week, because there's been nothing else to do. I had a fun game where I played Serbia, and I got the Lazarus achievement for uniting the Balkans as Serbia. Maybe you should try that if you're thinking of going to a protest. Josh is Russian now. Oh, I wish. Then I would never have to go back to the United States. Why so sad? I can't tell. Well, I'm very annoyed at the United States government right now, especially the Department of Justice and the FBI, but I can't tell you why. So maybe in 6 months I'll be able to explain my contempt right now. But unfortunately, there are certain limiting factors at play, so I don't get to explain my frustrations to the level that I would like to at this moment. The compromise? No, not quite. Not yet. I'm not playing croquet yet. I'm not on a horse with one of those stupid hammers. Not yet. Okay. So the first thing of substance. Oh shit. Where is it? Where is my... Oh, okay. I remember how my OBS was set up. I'm having like a stroke or something. Somebody help me. Here we go. Hopefully this works. It does work. Okay, excellent. So, coin update, my friends. I have a real coin update for you. I received an invoice from my shipping company, and it was about $10,000, which is about $5,000 less than I was expecting. So I thought, oh, that's okay then. If I overcharge on shipping, then I'll just keep the remainder. And then I had a conversation last Thursday with a representative from the company, because I obviously have some fucking issues that they need to sort out for me. And I'm talking to the guy, and he says, oh, that invoice is just for the orders that went out. I'm thinking, that's not right. That can't be right, because if that's the case, then for the quarter of the orders that have gone out, you charged me $10,000. And as I said, I had set aside $15,000. So if the total sum of shipping was going to be $40,000, that means that it would eat 100% of my margin, and then an extra $5,000 that I would be paying out of pocket just to get things shipped. So this piqued my curiosity. I was a little bit concerned about why this would be the case. So I went up and I looked at it, and I reviewed the orders. I went through them, and I tried to figure out why some of the charges were so high. And I will now show you this. And I should have brought this up beforehand, but let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what they did. You'll see, this is a spreadsheet that I exported. I'll just explain it in case you're only listening. It has the fulfillment cost, which is how much they charge, including the shipping on their end. So that's their fee plus the shipping as charged by the third-party company. The line item quantity is how many coins are ordered by that in that order. Shipping country is self-explanatory, and actual weight is in ounces. So we can see here that this person I had to pay the company $15 to send 4 coins to Canada, which was about 7 ounces. That's perfect. That's exactly what I expect. It's about $10 more expensive to ship things to the continental Canada because it's just the international border. It's about $5 to send it within the United States, but that makes sense. 7 ounces for 4 4-ounce coins plus the plastic plus the envelope. Perfect, makes sense, fair price, exactly what I charge people when they ship out. But then we look down and we see 3 coins going to Canada, and they charged me $263. So why is it $15 to send 4 to Canada up here, but then $263 to send 3 coins to Canada down here? Oh, it's because they charged me for 734 ounces. 734. So, to give you an idea, if you take the proportions of the box that they sent and you make it entirely out of silver and you put a stamp on it and you send that, it will weigh less than what they said this was. And then I took that and I took all the things where they said the package was several hundred ounces, and I replaced it with the actual weight that it should be, or the actual price that they should have charged, and it was exactly what I had charged. It was exactly what I expected. So they to give you an idea, the whole bill was about $10,000. And they said that they overcharged by $6,900. So they billed me 300% what was actually expected. And it's just like, how do you fuck up that bad? And then he says like, oh yeah, we sent this to the auditing team, and I can see that the weight was entered in manually. I guess they have a scale, and you just type in the order number, you put the object on the scale, and then you press enter, and you get the actual charge. But then for whatever reason, these orders were weighed at 490 or 734 ounces each. And I can only so the fulfillment guy working at the company put in those numbers manually did that. And it just makes me think, like, is this like a tranny? Did some tranny recognize the Chris coin from my sale and charge me $7,000 extra? And I feel bad if that was the case, because they're gonna have to pay for it. They're already gonna give me the credit for it, so it's just like, okay, whatever. But the good news is that now that that's sorted out, I went ahead and I sent out the my poor site's dying. I sent out the orders that I had ready to go. And if you want to go to the actual site and look down here at the November 19th orders, if your order number is on this huge list, use the Control F to find it. Your order should be going out this week or next week. So I hope it works, because I'm pretty fucking done with this shit. The rest of you will have to wait until about mid-December. I'm hoping everything will get done before Christmas, no promises. If not, then before the New Year's. So that is the coin update. The next update is the Boogie update, and I'll let Boogie explain. He's copying extra charges and might have a felony.
So on Tuesday, I got some bad news. And if you guys remember, there was that incident a year back when this dude was saying terrible shit about me on social media. He called me an FAGGOT, called me an NIGGER.
There's something really gratifying to me about when people have to censor themselves. Like, even in quotes, it's like we have these people who are just like they're so stuck up YouTube and Twitch's ass that they can't even say what they want to say, even when they're like quoting someone, because it gets them in trouble.
Talked about how he's gonna fuck me.
I also like how he
called me an NIGGER.
That's gonna get quoted.
He talked about how he's gonna fuck me up the ass, how he's gonna beat my ass, how he's gonna rape me, and all this other fucked up shit. How he wanted to take me inside my house and fuck me up my ass. And the guy, after saying all that shit online, showed up at my front door. He flew from his home state to Arkansas and came here to harass me to my face. And because of that incident, I ended up in legal trouble because my response wasn't what they wanted me to do. What I did was not what the state of Arkansas wanted me to do. So I got charged with aggravated assault. I can't say too many details other than that. But I got charged about 6 months ago, and my lawyer's been working hard to do everything he can to make this have a favorable outcome. And I just don't know if it's going to happen. And I'm starting to get pretty worried, and I'm starting to get pretty scared. And I think at the end of the day, since it's my first offense, even if I'm found guilty, which I don't know if I will be, even if I'm found guilty, I don't think I'll do jail time, but I will become a felon. And that's going to affect a lot of things.
That's the rough trade-off.
Being a felon in this country is pretty tough. I might end up having to do some probation or community service or both if I'm found guilty. And the reality of that's starting to really settle in. That's starting to really settle in, and it's scary. It's really scary because, you know, I love my country. I love my city. I love my neighbors. And I would never want to hurt nobody. I just wanted to be left alone, and I fucked up, and that's okay. I probably could have done.
Am I a felon? No. In fact, I sent in a FOIA to the Marshal Service just to make sure I didn't have any outstanding warrants. Because Ethan Ralph keeps saying that I'm wanted in the U.S. And I thought maybe he knows something I don't know. So I literally sent in a request for any information they have on me. And if I do have a warrant that I don't know about, that the marshals can't tell me even with a FOIA, it has to be a national security thing. So I don't think that's the case because my site's still up and I'm not extradited because I'm pretty sure this country has an extradition treaty. And I'm pretty sure the government knows where I'm at because I have to get shit mailed here like my passport. So I'm not particularly concerned about that.
Better in that situation. Simple as that. But I just don't know if it's worth losing my right to vote.
Oh, God, anything but that.
I don't know if it's worth my right to be able to hang out with my friend who was also a felon.
I would trade in my right to vote for like $100 a month. If you paid me $100 a month, I would no longer vote. That's all it takes for me. I don't know. But name your price on chat. What's your price for your right to vote?
I don't know if it's worth me losing my right to go to Mexico or go to Canada. I don't know if it's worth my rights to own a gun. I don't know if that mistake I made is worth losing my access to the healthcare exchange. I don't know if it's worth affecting my credit score by showing up on a background check. I don't know if that's what I deserve. But it doesn't matter if that's what I deserve because it might be what I get. And it's making me real scared. And
some guy with a kitten avatar says 1 pizza a week. Not even kidding. That's pretty fair. Pizza a week every week for the rest of your life. That's more of a impact on your personal happiness. And if you can't vote, you don't have to feel bad. No, somebody says, "Hey, who are you voting for?" And you're just like, "Oh, I can't vote. I'm a felon." Or, "I can't vote. I traded my right for pizza." And they're just like, "Oh, okay, I understand. I'm not going to hassle you anymore about your politics because you're disenfranchised under the Pizza Protection Act of 2021.
Real sad that that's the case. It's really scary.
Okay, so that's Boogie complaining about being a felon. I still believe that it's kind of fucked up that a guy can show up to your house and get you to cop felony charges. But on the other hand, Boogie really shouldn't have invited him over and then said, I would love it if you showed up at my house so I can fucking murder you in cold blood on my front yard. And if you own a gun, you should probably be aware of basic gun safety rules like Don't discharge your weapon in the air. Don't shoot unless you're intending to kill something. Always act like your gun is loaded and ready to go, like that kind of stuff. So it is 50-50. Though I would still invite Frank Castle to be my debt collector. I sent him a tweet on the Twitter. I said, "Would you like to be my debt collector now, Frank Castle?" And he never replied. So if you know Frank Castle, tell him that I want him to take a class in debt collection in Virginia and Utah, and I want him to buy a GoPro because I have use for him. Actually, I think he has a GoPro. He can use the same GoPro he used when he went to Boogie's house. Point is, I just need him to help me out a little bit. Sam Hyde. Every time I hear about Sam Hyde, it's always like in a thread about how he abuses women and it's like people. It's either people in Pole, like women really hate him because there's those pictures of him where he like apparently punched some like underage girl in the face or something. There's a really complicated history with Sam Hyde, and I hate all his videos. But when someone takes his streams behind the Gumroad paywall and edits them down to about 5 minutes with some extra context from older episodes, they're very watchable. But his actual content sucks, and he seems to have a genuine contempt for his fans, and he seems to have no value for money. And I think I've watched a lot of his like life advice videos, and I think he's telling like a lot of young men who don't have a father figure really, really terrible advice about finances and shit that doesn't apply to anyone unless you're a trust fund baby like Sam Hyde is. For instance, you should not get a car at a rental service and then completely total it and then return it. You shouldn't do that. There's no reason to invite this sort of misery into your life. It's satirical. That's the joke. I don't buy that. I like, number one, I don't buy that his intentions are that it's a joke. I think that he actually thinks he's like some sort of like sage of wisdom. If it is the joke, it's at the expense of his own audience, and the people who watch his streams and comment on his videos definitely don't consider it a joke. So I don't know if I particularly believe that. Oh yeah, don't pay off debt, become like Ethan Ralph and have a burden of debt that you can't bankrupt out of and completely ruin your credit and your prospects. My financial advice is more sensible. You should buy precious metals and cryptocurrency. That's my get Fred Durst from Linkin Park. I would do that. Or not Linkin Park. Fred Durst is from the Air Ride guy, the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Limp Bizkit. I'll get, yeah, I would let Limp Bizkit be my debt collector. He has to sing "Keep Rolling" though. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. That's a CD that my mom had, and she would play it in the car. It was my favorite CD that she had. So if you ever wondered why I guess that's kind of white trash, isn't it? Is Limp Bizkit white trash, or is he just like 90s pop culture? Anyways, let us move on to the Ethan Ralph segment, which will be the entire stream. White trash? Okay, fine. I'm from a poor area of Maryland, okay? I am a little bit white trash. Where do I start with? Actually, let me start with just the campaign. Let me read you this. When he originally published this, it had a picture of his baby, and that's gone now, and I'll get into that. But I'll read this. On May 19th, my mother died after a months-long losing battle with a brain injury. On May 27th, just 11 days later, my son Alexander was born. I was told by his birther, and yes, that's what he says. He refers to Faith exclusively as birther now because I think he's facing harassment charges against her, so he doesn't want to say Faith. But instead of just saying like mother, my son's mother, the woman that I've inexorably tied my life to and that I have to deal with constantly for at least the next 18 years, She's just the birther. And by the way, I've noticed that Ralph likes to really like shit on every woman that he's been with, like after the fact, except for Nora. It really like I talked about this before, but like his blatant disrespect for his own child's mother that's not like, how does he not see that that's just going to cause problems later in his kid's life? His kid's going to hate him forever. His kid is the most likely candidate for like murdering Ralph at this point because this motherfucker will never forgive him for being such a retard. Anyways, I was told by his birther that I need not worry about being present in person to be on the birth certificate. I should just rest at home and deal with my grief, according to her. This turned out to be a big mistake because I have never seen my son in person, and this woman has done everything in her power to keep me from him since July. Basically, I got burned by trusting a liar once again. I have 2 civil court cases in Nevada County, and by civil court cases, I mean criminal court cases, because I'm pretty sure harassment is, in fact, a criminal issue, over this matter. So far, her and people associated with her have tried to criminalize my speech in an effort to have me silenced and possibly even jailed. I was almost killed in a car accident last week. Afterwards, she took it upon herself to make up a fake story about my driving. I responded with a true story about her, and now I'm facing another legal action on a restraining order she sought. So, I think what Faith said is that Ralph is an extremely aggressive driver, and once upon a her story was that he was reading a Kiwi Farms thread on his phone while driving, and he became so irate that he drove like a fucking maniac and like almost drove them off the road or something to that effect. It was pretty fucking funny. And then his true story about her is he said that she had a loose vagina as a 19-year-old, and we already went over that, but chances are if you're having sex with a teenager and her vagina is loose, it's probably an issue with your girth. And since we know what Ralph's penis looks like, because there's a video of it and a picture of him wearing women's underwear that matches the video, we can probably assume the latter. Keep in mind that I live in Virginia and she lives in California. This is based on a tweet of mine. What? Well, I mean, whatever. Anyways, that makes 2 active orders. One is a mutual order that's being perverted in Nevada County that I'm fighting, on top of a matter in Richmond, which she brought to separate to this. The issue in Richmond being that he posted illegal pornography of her, and now the state is prosecuting him for unlawful dissemination of an image. And, separate from all that, I have to initiate custody proceedings against her in the same county. This includes establishing parentage, that pesky birth certificate story, and starting the custody proceedings themselves. This is likely to be a long and arduous court battle. No, it's not, because people have told him if you submit a DNA test, it can be cleared up without going to court, because the state will accept that. I've considered not even undertaking it for that reason, but this is my son, capital S, and I refuse to let him be stolen out from under me without using every tool I have at my disposal. This is one of those tools. Any money raised from this fund will go directly to my attorney in Nevada County, California. The funds from this campaign will be received by Ethan Ralph. This is fraud. I would say that this is not something you want to say. You don't want to fuck around with money. So saying that it will go directly to your attorney while the fund is in your name and is being received by you, and there is no attorney because you're filing pro se and you haven't named an attorney on any of your court documents, chances are that this is actual material misrepresentation of this fundraiser. And I would remove this sentence if you're smart, Ralph, or at least have a self-preservation instinct, because Vickers will file a complaint. All receipts and updates will be posted openly here. I expect to have an order of paternity filed early next week. This should be the first update. I've also kept this story sort of brief because every word I utter publicly about this matter is something the birther and her unscrupulous allies can try to use against me in court. Those of you who have faced such a thing understand how these things work. I will also note that I don't endorse any harassment of either party in the cases. Please do not talk about or contact them on my behalf. I'll post updates here as they become available. I'll also be spending my own money on this as well. However, this fund is earmarked only for legal usage. If you want to support my fight to see my son specifically in this way, every dollar from this fund will be spent on my legal battle to see Sanda. So this was made a week ago. It's raised $620 out of $10,000. I'll get back to that. I want to point out though that he says, every word I utter publicly about this matter is something that Faith will use against me in court. That's true. We'll circle back to that in a second. So the GoFundMe, actually it's GiveSend Now. GiveSend Go, which is a Christian crowdfunding site that Baked Alaska had used. And he says that Matthew Vickers filed a DMCA, or Faith did, for the picture of the baby, because he hasn't seen the baby. He doesn't have any pictures of the baby, and they all belong to Faith or Matthew Vickers as copyright. So he loses the image, and then he very smartly replaces on the Christian crowdfunding site, which is very generous to host him at all. Literally, speaking of Fred Durst and Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit, whatever the fuck, this is very Limp Bizkit. This is very Fred Durst. I'm getting some Fred Durst energy off of this picture that he really loves. He's got really small fingers. Look at how small his fingers are. So he uses this picture, and then they're like, in case you're wondering, in case you're listening, he's flipping off the camera. He with both middle fingers. Very classy, very classy. Yeah, I deserve to see my son. I'll flip birds off. I don't give a fuck who sees it. Not very compelling, but this gets taken down. So the new picture is the one that you see now, which is a sunset, which is pretty fucking funny for its symbolism. And then he says, a member of Kiwi Farm sent in a fake email which GiveSend Go honored for some reason. That being said, I'm going to update the progress on Telegram or something. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about regarding an email from Kiwi Farms, but he just blames the forum for everything. And then Ethan Ralph... Oh, okay. So I woke up one morning and I looked at the campaign. I noticed that the Share Now button had like 400 likes, and the praise had like 20, and then he had like 7 donations. And I'm thinking, like, so what's he doing that that's bumping up the Share Now? And then I found out if you go to this page, if you just click Share Now and you click embed link, you can see on the right hand side that the count goes up. So the reason why it has 312 shares right now is that a bunch of people click this a lot, and that's it. And I made a JavaScript thing that just every like half second it clicks it for you. That's it. And he says that a hacker explicitly from Kiwi Farms is attacking my GiveSend Go. We're pressing the attack. We're clicking this page to death, chat. And then he says, they were encouraged to attack the site by the owner of Kiwi Farms himself, Josh Moon, earlier this morning. He even posted code himself in the Kiwi Farms chat. It's undeniable that criminal activity is originating from Kiwi Farms. And then he says that this was an SQL injection. Okay, so the function sneed defines a random number between 250 and 750 is how this works out. So Sneed defines a number between 250 and 750, which is milliseconds. And then it does a post to what happens when you click this link. It just makes a little post that does nothing except increments that counter by 1. And then after, it's set so that after this post, it sneeds again at that time. And that's it. It's a little loop. It sneeds every 500 milliseconds to increment this counter. And using this very hacker-esque Sneed-based attack. He now has 300,000 shares on his GoFundMe, which I don't know why he's complaining about this. I said this: you will do this. If you do this, you will help Ralph, and it will help this go to the president. So if you sneed hard enough, this forum will go to the president of the United States of America. This is my promise to you. Okay, so then after this, the SQL thing comes from Gator, who's a paramount of intelligence. Give, Send, Go is up again. Kiwi Farms put up some text about me running a red light, which never happened. I ran a green light, which I mentioned before, and needed the green arrow. It's like a $90 ticket that means nothing. These neets who never leave their house don't know about driving. And then Gator says, I've never once been so mad at someone that I broke federal law by injecting SQL and breaking into web servers and openly flaunting it. This is pound you in the ass prison time. So Gator has invoked Mutt's law in record time, or permanently becoming their bitch boy if the feds get interested enough. And then Ralph says, it's going to happen eventually, Gator. So don't you dare sneed, or Gator will get you sent to prison for forever. And then, on the topic of, as I mentioned, what's this? I kept this story brief because every word I utter publicly about this matter is something that Berther and her allies will use against me in court. Ralph very intelligently decides to say this.
Interference with his own person.
No, we haven't even started closing arguments, man.
They're
doing jury instructions first.
And reasonably believed.
Bolton.
Leave the USA and search for a new life.
Honestly, yeah, I've considered leaving the country more than I ever have in my life. Yeah. Now, of course, not before I have to settle some things. But yeah, I've definitely been considering leaving the country. And I've talked to some people about doing it, Wang Lin and others, yeah. Because it's clear, long term, you know, they're probably going to try to fuck with me through the courts. That's their new strategy. But if I'm in another country, you know, I can do this anywhere.
Caused the death of another with the intent to kill.
I hate to say that because it is like a last resort type thing, but it's clear certain parties are probably going to be fucking with me through the courts long term.
The defendant is guilty of first.
Well, that's the question though. Where do you go?
If the defendant caused the death of another by criminally reckless conduct,
Mexico is definitely an option. It's very easy to get residency in Mexico.
Showed utter disregard for human lives.
Unless you're a felon.
Belarus.
You will be asked to consider the privilege of self-defense and deciding whether the elements of first-degree reckless homicide are present.
I could get residency in Mexico in like 2 weeks, probably.
To prove all facts necessary to constitute a crime beyond a reasonable
There's a lot of
doubt,
expatriates in Mexico already, too.
To make a separate finding on whether the defendant acted in self-defense. Instead,
UK,
you will be asked
no.
to determine whether the state has established
Serbia, no.
the necessary facts to justify a finding of guilty for first.
It's crazy to me that he rules out Serbia. I don't know if he's like afraid that I'll use my Serbian mafia contacts to get him or something or what. But like Serbia is a really nice place. It's in Europe. It's an EU aspirant. They're part of the transportation union, so a lot of money from Europe flows into there. Belgrade's an ancient city with a lot of history. It's a Christian place. And then he was like, actually, you know what? I feel like going to a war-torn shithole that's famous for beheading people and holding Americans ransom, and where I could very realistically end up being fed to pigs unironically by the cartels, because that's whatever. I don't know. I guess he thinks that it's like badass. It's like that's the trope of like super cool, like I don't know, like criminal masterminds. They all flee to Mexico, so he thinks that's the most cool place to go. Yeah, no gangster ever went to like Serbia, so they always go to Mexico. So in his head, he thinks that's like the best way to go. But I'll let him finish.
For second-degree intentional homicide or for first-degree reckless homicide. If the state does not satisfy you that those facts are established by the...
Oh, that's the end of it. So, yeah, probably, I mean, Your Honor, I am what's called a flight risk. I intend to leave this country unless, Your Honor, you choose to rule in my favor. in which case I will stay. However, I have made it known on my live streams, which have now been documented in several different places, that yes, Your Honor, I will flee this country and sacrifice my American citizenship if you displease me. So just laying that out on the table there so that you can really give it a long, hard think before you come to any conclusions. Genius. Fucking genius. It really is projection. Like him saying like, oh, you're a criminal in the U.S., so you had to flee to Serbia. And now he's thinking like, that Josh Moon sure does have some good ideas. Now that I'm about to become a criminal in my country, I can flee to Mexico and live long and prosper, as they say. But for real, my advice to Ralph is don't leave the U.S. Ralph doesn't understand that he is a wigger. He is a product of the United States. He is an Amerimut. He cannot function outside the United States. The United States is a country where people like Melinda Scott can abuse the court system forever, and they never have to be afraid of anything ever. Because we live in a nice, safe, comfy country where there is a strong rule of law, and the government is basically Jerry Springer and will separate people from killing each other. In Mexico, if you piss off the wrong people, they will literally have a dog eat the insides of your penile cavity where your scrotum used to protect you, and then they will film it and they will put it on the internet, on Live League. If Ethan Ralph treated any woman in Mexico with the same kind of bullshit that he does to women in the United States, he would literally be fed to dogs, and I would have to close his board with a parting thread that features a video of him being cut to pieces, literally, unironically. Ralph, you are not made for anywhere else. You cannot live anywhere else. If you went to some place like Western Europe, you would be arrested for hate speech. If you went to the Slavic countries, you would get the shit kicked out of you by drunk Slavs. If you went to Mexico, you would be cut into pieces. And you can't go to any like nice countries. You can't go to like Sweden or Canada if you even wanted to, because you're a felon. They will never give you citizenship. They'll never give you residency. You can't. And the places you can bribe yourself into will fucking murder you. I don't think he understands. And in the interest of protecting this person who I find phenomenally fascinating and very funny, stay in the U.S. and just do your fucking give, send, go and get a little bit of money. And good luck with that. Live with Josh, yeah, fucking right. Not a chance. So he made a big obstinate message about how he was never going to take down this tweet. This used to be it was a link to the Give Send Go that was created when it had the picture of the baby. And when it was posted, it cached, or cache is how the Australians say it, which is how I learned it. But it cached the picture of the baby along with the link. And he said on his live stream, he gave some big spiel about, that's not how the fucking DMCA works, you fucking idiots. You can't DMCA a link. And as a matter of fact, you actually can with what's called deep linking or deep hyperlinking. This is something that I have read entirely. I have read this in a law textbook about copyright. There is a distinction between a hyperlink and what's called deep linking. So, and caching images. So this is an entire field of law where there exists court precedent. And the gist is you will never get in trouble for hyperlinking to a page. But if you cache an image, you can get in trouble for copyright infringement, depending on a huge number of factors. So when he said that, I'm thinking like, oh, he's definitely going to lose that tweet to a fucking DMCA because he's an idiot. And then sure enough, he lost the tweet to a DMCA. And this is definitely from Vickers, because I think he DMCA'd the Give Send Go as well. And then he had to. So this is it. This is the only picture that Ethan Ralph has of his son that actually belongs to him. Is this ultrasound picture from fucking ages ago? Isn't that amazing? It's pronounced cash, not cash. It is pronounced cash in Australia, and I prefer that pronunciation. So, fuck you. That's all I gotta say about that. I think that's enough of Ralph. I don't have my notes. If there's anything else I was supposed to mention, I've lost them. Let me think for a second, because I don't want to miss it, because I will not circle back to it. No, that's it. Let me get. I'm like super dehydrated. That's why I have no energy, chat. I didn't drink enough water. Okay. I received weeks ago, months ago even, from a user called Drama Fan, I'm pretty sure. And this is, I think they're an admin of our drama, which has now moved to, and I'll give a shout out to him because he wrote this up for me. It's rdrama.net. The original R Drama has been like super mega cucked by the moderators of Reddit. So now you can only post emojis on their board, and it's basically just a link to rdrama.net. And Drama Fan wrote this up, and this is my tranche update. I've been promising this for like months now. This arc has completed in its entirety. I think it only lasted a couple weeks in September, and then October rolled around. I never got around to it. So this woman that you're seeing right here is named Kindness, and she is a fucking lunatic. And I say she because this is a woman XX as opposed to a woman in brackets. And there is sound, just give it a second. I don't know why it's quiet there. Friends. Now, I'll take a second to reiterate something that all men need to hear. Never stick your dick in crazy. Never do it. This woman, I'll tell you, this woman's crying. You know why she's crying? She said she got raped. You know why she says that she got raped? She claims that she is a multiple system. She has multiple personalities that are all real, fully developed characters in her head that cycle to the forefront of her consciousness and take over her body. So she is multiple people in one. This was a Tumblr fad for a while that most people grew out of. She never did. So she is the remnant 5 years after that happened, that is still around. Now, the issue is that she claims that when one of her alters took over, she climbed into bed with a lover and they had sex. But because it wasn't her in the forefront of her head, it was therefore rape. And she's crying that she was raped because she regrets having sex with someone after her personality switches. And if you think that's bad enough, imagine being a guy who had sex with this crazy bitch and now she's accusing you of rape when you didn't rape her. She claims that he's a child rapist because the personality that was fronting at the time is, and this is not a joke, is a sentient child robot. So not even like a real child, but a robot child that took over her body. And because he had sex with her, he is a child rapist because the personality at the forefront at that time is a kid. So never, ever, ever. I know for whatever reason some guys fantasize about crazy chicks. Never. You will fuck up. That is the fastest way to fuck up your whole life. Just ask Ralph. So, I'm going off. I'm going off my memory because I lost my notes. She met Bonnie and Amhole, the guy from my stream that really fetishized being like a sex slave, like for use for sex only. They met at Denver, which I don't know what that is. I'm going to assume it's a Denver, Colorado FurCon. I know it's a FurCon. I'm assuming it's in Denver because I think they're in Colorado, so that makes sense. So Kindness meets up with the Tranch, and after a little while, both Amhole and Penny start hitting on her on Twitter. And that's really funny because it just proves that a transsexual will immediately flip to straight the second that viable sex with a real woman becomes an option. Now, she says that her pronouns are they or he. So this is a female to male plural system part child. Furman, send me on the chat the parrot video because I do not have that. Just at me in the scrote chat. I'll watch that. But she meets up with these people and they want to fuck her, so they invite her out to their Colorado wasteland sex dungeon alpaca ranch, and then they have a falling out. But I have a list here of what she claims is her disabilities. You ready? Hypermobility. EDS. I do not know what EDS is. So she deleted her Twitter. Paralysis. Fibromyalgia, of course. Gastroparesis. Severe irritable bowel syndrome. That's not someone you want living with you. You don't want someone who shits themselves constantly living with you in your house. Chronic bronchitis, seizures, asthma, fainting, nosebleeds, nausea, partial deafness, dental issues, chronic fatigue, incontinence, rectal bleeding. She's butthurt, literally. Surgically removed benign tumors, a history of cancer, burns, no feeling in her hands or feet, brittle bones, repeatedly broken ribs, a compromised immune system, surgery requiring skin conditions, ganglion cysts, general mobility issues, something that makes burping physically impossible, surgically corrected lists, a stutter, migraines, extreme pain. She was bedbound and needed a wheelchair at some points. And that's physical illnesses. She also claims to have eating disorders, diagnosed OCD, diagnosed ADHD, PTSD, anxiety, suicide attempts, self-diagnosed autism, facial blindness, nonverbal episodes, bipolar disorder, dissociative identity disorder, and schizophrenia, which I don't know about you guys, but to me, better fucking open. To me, this kind of sounds like something. I don't know what it could be, but oh, she's Jewish. Where's the Jewish tweet? She's literally Jewish. And did I lose the fucking tweet? You just have to take my word for it, I guess. Oh, here we go. I have it saved, thankfully. So, if you're wondering what sort of genome can breed such a mental illness, you have your answer. I would love it if anything worked today. So I guess if I wasn't fucking up something, it wouldn't be one of my streams now, would it? There we go. Finally, Jesus. Like, what if I never stopped being a Jew? What if I could find a synagogue that accepts trans people? Like, what if I want community again? I mean, realistically, I still celebrate privately many traditional holidays and rituals, but it's been a hell of a trip to recognize that I might actually want to walk the path with the community again. It's just overwhelming. So, certified mental illness that could only belong to one of God's chosen. The Rittenhouse verdict. Well, I'm almost done with this. I'll play it if it's might as well. Is the verdict coming right now? I'll ask my Spurgs. And we'll watch that, I guess. Why not? Nothing else to do. Only other thing about her is that she bought, or rather, Bonnie did, The Ultimate Guide to Sex and Disability. I pointed this out before, but he bought the exact same book that Chris bought before he had sex with Barb. Wish my chat would actually give me a live stream instead of just like not giving me a live stream. And that's kindness. They had a falling out. She said, I want this to be more than a dream. I'll try. The harder I try, worse things seem to be. The more I try to be known, the less it feels like I can exist. Maybe one day people won't read into my kindness anything other than what it is. I am not heartbroken because of my romantic partner, but I'm afraid circumstances are the bare minimum force us apart physically. Basically, she's a crazy bitch and they asked her to leave. Oh, the verdict is within the hour? It's happening. Okay. We'll watch this live. Fuck it. Here's the written Sneed shit. Oh, very exciting. Here, I'll put some music on. Hello? I mean, they're standing at attention. It must be happening soon, right? Wait, hold up. If John Furman finds that other video, we'll watch that until they start speaking. This is so awkward. They're just all...
Right, members of the jury, have you...
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's happening, shit.
Would you give your juror number, please?
54.
54. And has the jury reached a verdict as to each count of the information?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
One verdict and one verdict only.
Yes.
Would you hand all of the paperwork to the bailiff, please?
This is the ones that you didn't know.
Everything?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Wait, I'll do the poll.
May I see that too, please, Mrs. Chairman? Thank you.
I'm putting up the poll, chat. You better get this right. It's coming in right fucking now. Vote. A vote like your life depends on it. Participate in democracy, chat. Flip, flip, flip.
The defendant will rise, face the jury, and hearken to its verdicts.
It's a history in the making, chat.
Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Oh my god.
As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Oh my god.
As to the third count of the information, unknown male. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Holy fuck.
As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Members of the jury, these...
They found him not guilty on everything?
Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled?
Oh.
Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done, and we started just about 3 weeks ago. And I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive. And the forgotten six over here who had a very difficult job of keeping from discussing the case during the time that they were sequestered as well. All of you, I couldn't have asked for a better jury to work with. And it has truly been my pleasure.
Is that
I think,
Blumhouse's
without
family?
commenting on your
The
verdict-
Jewish-looking
verdicts
ones?
themselves, just in terms of your the attentiveness.
I mean, I guess that's it. He's just going to thank the jury.
It's
I hope,
just-
is everyone happy? Anyone not happy with the verdict? Anyone hoping that he was guilty?
country placed in you. So I dismiss you at this time. You're never under any obligation to discuss any aspect of this case with anyone. You're welcome to do so as little or as much as you want. The media have requested, a number of media sources have requested the ability to talk to you, and they have been...
I'll pause it there. I'm sure if you want to go watch Ricada, I wouldn't blame you. I see the numbers are dropping. I think now is the good time to cut it off. Very, very interesting. I'm glad I'm glad I cut on the stream. We all get to see the verdict together. Isn't that exciting? Where are your coins? They're in the mail. I mean, I'm glad for him. I'm really glad because he's just a fucking kid, right? He's like 17, literally 17. He was facing like a triple homicide charge. I'm glad for him, and it makes me more optimistic for the country to see that, you know, people still see self-defense as self-defense. And this is the second big upset that I can think of where like stand your ground was a thing. And this is true. My first big red pill was Trayvon Martin. Because I remember how much the media banged the drums about Trayvon being killed in like cold blood by a white supremacist. And then they were literally editing his pictures to make him look white when he was Latino. And then they hid all that shit about like the phone calls of him crying for help and stuff. And it's just, yeah, pretty uplifting, I suppose. Craftopia. All right. Well, I think that's a high note to end on. I did not get the link to the video that John Furman mentioned. I apologize if you guys wanted me to say more about kindness. But I think that's all that we have. So I have to change my song. I had a cover of Paint It Black, and now I feel like I have to play something better. What could I play? That's a happier song, chat. Not like a pop song. Wait, oh, thank you for reminding me. I weighed in today at 113.2 kilograms, which is 249.5 pounds. I'm under 250 for the first time in like 5 years at least. All right. Play Rolling from Limp Bizkit. Oh my god. I have a song here. I have a song for everyone. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
It's just one of those days when you don't wanna wake up. Everything is fucked, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. Think you better quit letting shit slip. Oh, you'll be leaving with the fat lip. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. Think you better quit talking that shit. So come and get it.
Sometimes when I get out of bed, I feel like I go straight underwater, and I'm swimming, and I'm at the bottom of the ocean, and I'm looking up, and it's just black, and I'm thinking, how do I get air? I'm trying to breathe, but I don't know how.
It's just one of those days where you lie flat on the ground, trying to scream, but don't make a sound. Weeks moving so quick, suddenly it's Christmas. No human contact, cause if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. Think you better quit letting shit slip. Oh, you'll be leaving with the fat lip. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. Think so come and get it.
You express your mind to me, but then you control it. It's like a wild animal, and it runs and it bites and it eats and it shits and you're just kind of sitting there watching.
It's just one of those days. One of those days.
Man, I forgot to put this on the live vision, so you only got to see nothing for a while. What a jet.
I wanna feel change. It's just one of those